Hello and welcome back to the woods, and unfortunately a rather disappointing vlog. Today's vlog is essentially cancelled. I'm going to string together some questions that I didn't answer a couple of vlogs ago and try and put some kind of video together for you today, so it's not just a non-vlog day. But yeah, my day has been truly written off, unfortunately. And I do apologise for the ambiguity, but I can't really go into why it's written off. But unfortunately, yeah, there is. Jesus Christ, this slide is getting slippier by the day. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't go into any details about it. Everything's fine though, so don't worry yourselves. But it just means that there's no video today. So I'm going to kind of walk through the house and yap for the rest of this video. Pre-warning to those people who complain about me yapping all the time, you probably don't want to watch this video, but I am going to go through and answer some of the frequently asked questions that, again, I missed off a couple of videos ago, and talk about the plans for the house. Now, before I dive into the house, rather fittingly, the first question comes from John, and he's asked what the hardest and easiest part about filming my day is. And this is one of those days where it's kind of like, the hardest part about me filming what I get up to and, you know, continuing on the house is largely to do with like the logistics of juggling work, family, my own time, and like, you know, trying to build a home for us. It's like, it's hard to manage all things and keep everybody happy, which is why we kind of decided that a family day would be a good idea. So at least one day of the week I can kind of dedicate my time to my family instead of just working all the time, because even though like I do love doing YouTube and I love the renovation, or I love working on the campsite with mom and stuff like that, a lot of the time it can just feel like work and you're just working all the time. There's never a time to switch off, which is actually one of the reasons why I like watching football. I never used to watch football, but the way I kind of got back into it thanks to Carl. For those people who don't know, Carl is Tom's brother-in-law, is probably the best way to describe it. He's a friend from up in Manchester, but I got back into football, and for 90 minutes, or more like 100 nowadays, or a couple of hours usually for whatever minimum, I'm just glued to the TV. Like, I just don't do anything for 2 hours straight, and that is like ultimately the only time I really get to switch off, because I don't really play video games anymore, although with the seasons changing, I'm getting that itch to play games again. But yeah, I don't really switch off, so there's very little time for me to juggle things around, and that's probably the hardest thing about filming my day-to-day. Like today, I've been juggling things all day, and it's just left no time for me to actually do anything in the house and film a video. Speaking of the seasons changing, I am starting to notice mushrooms everywhere. How cute is that? The next question comes from Karen, and that is, do I ever write a to-do list? As it makes things a lot easier. And yeah, I do. Not like for every single thing I have on my to-do list in my head of like list of things to do, but I do break things down, and I use my calendar on my phone a lot to organize, like, this vlog is going live on this day, this is what I need to film on this day for the vlog that's going live on this day, this is what, yeah, and I use my calendar a ton. And then I use my notes on my phone, say like, today I'm doing, fit in the bath, for example, and I'll break down all the things that I need to do in that video towards the bathroom. Now, as I mentioned in the last vlog, it's becoming increasingly frustrating that I have not thought through the entire bathroom from the beginning to the end. Now, granted, I like to learn as I go anyway. That's just kind of how I learn things. And I don't 100%, at the very beginning of this project, I had no idea how to do half the things that I have done throughout this project. And it's easier, rather than trying to essentially create like a Bible on how to convert a bedroom into a bathroom, I just find it easier to break it down bit by bit and just take it little by little, especially when I had so much other stuff going on in my life. People have wondered, for example, why didn't I plan the bathroom before I did it? But I was helping my nan move, and I was like wrapping up my last place, like where I was living before, you know, trying to juggle the fact that I was moving to kids' schools and there was a lot changing in my life, and trying to juggle all of that and plan a brand new renovation project is kind of difficult. I think when you standardize things and you're like, say you're just a young couple who have just got together, or you've been together for a few years, and you're looking at buying your new house, you have dreams and aspirations of what you envision that to be, and it's very exciting. Everything else is in order, and the next stage of your life is, you know, children, marriage, and get a house. Talking very, what's the word? I don't even think standard is the right word to use it, but like stereotypical way of, you know, living a life. It's easier, I think, when you're, you know, all your eggs are in order to plan out, this is how we're going to do this room, this is how we're going to do that room, this is how we're going to do this. Or sometimes, you know, you're with someone who's got a vision for how things want to be. And Jess is quite similar to me in that, you know, moving the bathroom door didn't come until quite late on into the project, literally as you saw it unfold in the video. That wasn't something we'd thought about until we started walking up the stairs a lot, and we were given some advice early on to doing the house, and that don't make drastic changes straight away, just live in the environment, because you might find that a decision that I make now, once I've lived in the property for a while, will feel odd. And it's not right. So like, now that we've been here for a good few months, it feels nicer to have the landing more open and just things like that. You won't know till you actually live in it. And no, we're not trying to do everything perfectly the first time, but I also don't want to revisit in a year's time regretting that decision. So yeah, whilst I do make to-do lists on things of jobs that I've got to do, and oftentimes when you're walking around, I'm mentally thinking like, oh, okay, I need to sort this out, this still needs to be done, for example. I try not to overwhelm myself, because I don't know, I don't want to be like, woe is me, but life is fairly overwhelming as it is, without having to add everything else on top of it. So yeah, little by little is how I kind of do it. But yes, I do create lists. The next question isn't of anyone specific, but it's been asked a ton, which is, why did I use normal plasterboard on the walls instead of moisture resistant board, and why did I fit the boards to the floor? Now the answer to the first question is, I was advised by my plasterer to just use normal plaster and paint it with good quality bathroom paint. He said that ultimately moisture board will still fail, it just buys you more time. And it's in his experience of 22 years of doing this, he just says the fibers are slightly different in the moisture panel, and that's why he wouldn't bother doing it. It's just a waste of money. It's a way of gypsum making more money by slapping a new label on a new board that ultimately is still going to fail if water damage gets to it. So following the advice of the plasterer that was, you know, given to me, I kind of have to trust him. He is the professional after all, and he's done a stellar job. I mean, look at this room now that it's all drying. It looks so good. By the way, these lines where you can see that I put boards, they will go and it will look like the ceiling, which is just one straight color. Won't matter anyway, because I'm going to paint it all. But speaking of the professional and me, the unprofessional, the reason I didn't raise the boards off the floor is quite simply because I didn't really know what I was doing. Now I have a good idea of how to fit plasterboard, as you saw, but the finer details, like raising the board off the ground, which by the way, most people will take an offcut of plasterboard, lay it on the floor, and then they'll sit the new plasterboard sheet on top of that, and it will give them like a 12.5 mil clearance off the ground. I didn't do that because it slipped my mind when I was doing it. Pure and simply, like it was in there somewhere in the back of my brain. I knew I knew somewhere that I was meant to do that, but I just forgot. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter too much. He said if I tile the floor, it's not going to make any difference. But if I do put like laminate down or something like that, and I want that gap at the bottom, I can just put a level on the ground, like one of these big levels I have, and then get my multi-tool and just run my multi-tool across the bottom of the board and just take off, the bottom layer of plasterboard. So it's not the end of the world that I made that mistake. But due to the fact that I was rushing things, and as you know very well by this point, I don't 100% think things through, it was just a mistake. That's the top and bottom of it. But as far as the actual board on the walls, doesn't matter that much. Another frequently asked question has to do with the floor, which I'll touch on very briefly. And to be fair, some of the walls. Why didn't I insulate? Pure and simply, just out of budget, and because the whole ceiling for downstairs is coming down. Like, I'm taking off all the ceiling downstairs. I'm gonna refit all the ceilings down there. Whether I do the insulation now from above or below, it doesn't really make a difference because there's nothing to hold it up in place. In many ways, it's probably going to be easier for me to fit the insulation from below because I can pin it up. But yeah, it was just out of budget at the time. So yes, being able to hear footsteps and stuff on the wooden floorboards of upstairs is going to be something that will be annoying long term. I'm aware of that. And given time, I will insulate the floors, and if I have money, then I'll insulate the walls. But to be honest, I think the only wall that I'll probably put any kind of insulation in, or I'll just use soundproof plasterboard, is the wall that separates this room from the new bathroom. Because when Lily is in here, because ultimately this will be Lilia's room unless they swap at whatever point, you know what kids are like. It's a sound barrier between this room and the bathroom. The next question from Star Gaming is, what is the thing that I'm most excited about to do in the house? And I'll split this off into two, really, because I'll separate the garden and the house. Probably, long term, is the extension. Very, very excited about doing the extension because it will change the house dramatically. In the immediate future, the thing I am most excited about doing in the house is probably the kitchen. Not because I will personally ever use the kitchen, but mainly because of the craftsmanship and the carpentry that I could do for the kitchen. I don't know, when we get to that point, I may very well just buy units and put units in, but I've always wanted, or I've wanted for a very long time, to build my own kitchen, do some woodworking and put it all together myself. So I am kind of looking forward to that because, as you guys may know by this point, I do like carpentry and doing woodwork and stuff with wood. So yeah, I am quite excited to work on that. But the extension long term, oh, that's going to be really nice. As for the garden, there's a couple of things. I'm very excited to finish a trench and get my workshop started and get the garage turned into a studio and all that kind of good stuff in there. But it'll be really nice to see this place full of life, all tidied up, and just see the kids playing in it. A combination of that and turning the paddock into an outdoor play area for the kids, with a Go AP swings from places, zip lines, and tree to tree top canopy walkways and stuff. I'm genuinely really excited to do that because that is what I would probably call some of the more fun projects that I can do. As well as I've discussed in a few videos now, off in that corner where for the time being is going to become the scrapyard, I would like to put a log cabin there, and building that from scratch and trying to do an off-grid log cabin in the woods would be super dope as well. So lots of really cool projects long term. Don't know where I'm going to magic the money to do any of these things. It's just going to be an ongoing thing, I guess, as we live here. You never know. YouTube might turn out to do really well for me, and it could fund some of these projects. So, become a member or join me over on Patreon or buy my merch. No, in all seriousness, you guys just watching the videos is more than enough. But yeah, lots of things to be excited for in the garden. Probably more excited about doing garden things than I am the house. But the house is a needs must. Obviously, I need to live in it, but there's that argument of if you're going to do something, do it right. And I want to do justice by the house and proper put time and care and effort into things. And that is probably why the bathroom has taken so long, because whilst I could have just winged it and just thrown it all together very quickly, I have thought each process out as I've been doing it, and it's taken me a little bit longer as I've stumbled across new problems that the house has. The next question comes from Amesy192, and she asks, how do you balance dad life, vlog life, and editing Tom's vlogs? The honest answer to that question is I have absolutely no idea. I don't know how I do it. So many people are the same, they don't understand how I do it. Before I got ill, to be perfectly honest, I was waking up at 4 o'clock in the mornings, getting my work done, doing the school run, coming home, working on the house, doing some work, bouncing back and forth between the house and working, pick the kids up from school, come home, do some more work on the house, and then I would have dinner, then I would edit my vlogs, and I'd go to bed. And that was my day. Like, that is why when you kind of see how my day structures like that, why I just never really spent much time, if any time, with my family, and decided to take a family day. On weekends it was slightly different. I'd get up in the morning. If I had extra videos that I needed to edit of mine, then I would do that first thing in the morning, and then I would just work on the house from the very beginning of the day all the way to the end of the day, and I just wouldn't take any time off. I think the only exception to that rule is if the football was on, and I would watch the football for, like, a couple of hours, like I said earlier. So yeah, time management is probably the only way I juggle it all. That being said, I don't necessarily think I juggle it really well, because I don't give enough time to my family. For example, like right now, 6 days of the week, I'm pretty much working morning till dusk. And then on the 7th day of the week, I spend with Jess, Benji and Lilia, and we do something for the day, or at least that's the plan for the foreseeable future. And then I'm out of days in a week, so I'm not spending time with friends. I'm not spending time with extended family, like my mom, my dad, my brother and my sister, anyone else, like seeing my nan. Like I did manage to find a point of the week last week to just squeeze in and go nip over to see my nan, for example. But yeah, it's hard to do everything. It was a little bit easier when I was only posting twice a week, because it gave me more time, obviously, throughout the week to put those videos together. That way the videos were nicer. I didn't ramble on nearly as much, and it just gave me more time so I could do other stuff. Whereas yeah, right now it is a bit of a struggle bus. It is quite challenging, so I'm stretched thin a little bit, but ultimately my family needs a home, and that is the first and foremost of my priority list. I will put that before everything else, because I have very soon to be 1-year-old daughter. I have a 6-year-old little lad, and a missus that, like, they need things like a home. So can't live in a garage forever. It's super important to their day-to-day life. Obviously, like, everyone needs a roof above their head. So that is why I kind of work the way I do. But yeah, juggle it, I guess, kind of. It's juggled, just not very well balanced. In that same vein, nice easy question for me to answer here from Jammer HBD. Seen the vlogs and I've seen the guitars. Wondered if you still play. Nope, don't have the time. Yeah, I would love to. I would absolutely love to play guitar. If I had all of the time in the world to just dedicate and just become really good at guitar, I 100% would do that. I would love to be really good at guitar. I can play the guitar, just not very well. I'm one of these people that I can pick up most instruments and I can play them. I don't know what that's called. I don't know if there's a word for it. But yeah, it's the same thing. Jack of all trades, master of none. I can do a lot of stuff, but none of it I can do particularly great. And the best till last, a really nice question from Raylan here. How is the family doing? We are doing all right. The way that my family dynamic works is I bear the weight of all of the stress associated with the kids and Jess and stuff. So their lives is easier. Now, I don't want to come across as some kind of shining knight, like white knight or something like that, because Jess does a crap load for us and the family. Like, she keeps us fed, she does bath time, she does all of the school stuff and all this other stuff. Yeah, I drive the kids to school, but outside of that, she does a lot. So I don't bear the weight of everything, but I do try to take as much of the stress and the responsibility for that stress on my shoulders. A lot of people, like, you see these things on TikTok or like on the internet in general, think like, what's the word, where it's like I own Jess or something like that. But Jess quite literally won't do anything unless I make a decision on it first. which again isn't a decision I have personally made, which she will vouch for. Again, probably doesn't sound particularly convincing, but I personally, it really pisses me off sometimes, excuse my French, because she just doesn't make any decisions herself. Don't get me wrong, she has her own hobbies and stuff that she does make like decisions on, but it's one of the hardest things about doing the house has been trying to make all of these decisions by myself when I'm doing it for everybody else. So it's kind of difficult for me to make those decisions, and it can become quite frustrating sometimes. So as much as it may have been a little annoying that Jess turned around and said, "Can we move the door into the bathroom?" It was kind of nice as well, because it was like one of the first decisions that she's actually made. Sorry, to make sure I don't walk into cobwebs. One of the first decisions that she's actually made towards the house. So yeah, going on a bit of a tangent there, but otherwise, family's doing really well. Lilia is starting to talk, as I kind of shared in a previous vlog. She's saying some words. She's very happy. Good little girl. Benjamin loves school and is a good kid, but at home, he's very comfortable expressing himself, which is the easiest and nicest way I can put that. I don't want to slag my son off, really. It does pain me to speak negatively on it, but yeah, he is behaving not the greatest a lot of the time, and it's not like he's a terrible child. All cool kids are like this, but he's at that age where he knows better than everyone else, so he argues a lot and answers back a lot, and even if you ask a simple thing, it's always rebutted by something that he has to say, and it's very frustrating, and it's quite challenging as a parent. He went for a small phase of shouting at us and slamming doors, which I cut that crap out very quickly. I will not tolerate that at all, and he hasn't done that for a while now, which is good. And I've kind of, for me, like, if I try something and it doesn't work, like I said, I've said before, I'm a bit of a problem solver. I like to fix problems. I like to fix things. That's just the nature of who I am. So when Benjamin presents me with a problem, like, it's a parenting thing, right? I need to figure out what is the best way to parent my child, because every child is different, and what works for one person might not work for another. The way that I was raised, I mean, I can't do many of the things that how I was raised to Benjamin, and I mean that as no slight on anybody at all. I was a terrible child as well, but yeah, I tried one thing, like, I've shouted back at him, like, as you do as a parent. It's very difficult sometimes. I've shouted at him, and it doesn't work, so I stopped shouting at him, and I tried teaching him, like explaining to him what he's doing wrong. That didn't work. It didn't sink in. We removed all screens. He's not allowed a screen at all anymore. That solved a lot of problems. He's become a lot better since he's not allowed a screen anymore. So that is something that has helped a bit. Now I'm currently on, I don't know, my 6th attempt, I guess, at trying to parent Benjamin. And now on a daily basis, I make him repeat to me the things that he's meant to do. And I don't mean that by chores, but like, I say, for example, what are the things that you've learned, like, what's today's lesson or today's mantra, if you will. And it's like, one of them is like, be patient, don't rush, listen and think before you do something. And I have him repeat this every day. And to me, it's not quite as bad as, like, you know, when you're a kid and you have to write lines. I feel like we've all done that. It's kind of like a similar tactic, I guess, as that. Whereas if I get him to repeat it enough, it's just drilling it into him. And like, every day I just take 5 minutes. I'm like, Benjamin, what are the 5 things, or the 6 things, whatever it is, what are the things that you need to remember every day? And he just keeps repeating them. And if he does something like shouts at me, for example, I'll add that to the list. So yesterday, I added a new one to the list. Yesterday was, when a grown-up is speaking, you're to stop and listen, because it's rude to interrupt, because oftentimes you'll try talking to him and he'll just yap over you, and it's really hard to get him to engage in conversation because he doesn't listen. So yeah. I went on a bit of a random tangent, parenting tangent, and shared some secrets behind the vlogs, I guess. Over the last however many years I've been doing this now, I will never, ever, ever share my kids in a bad light. Doesn't matter if they're upset because they fell over and they hurt themselves. I don't like to see my kids crying or anything like that. And whilst that is like the experience of life and happens to everybody, I don't share I don't share my kids being bad on camera. I try my best not to. Sometimes it is unavoidable when it happens in the background or something like that. But yeah, I don't like to share that. So a little bit of a secret for you on life behind the scenes. Yes, we are normal parents just like everybody else. Like Benjamin, whilst he is adorable and he's a really good kid, like genuinely everyone that meets Benjamin says he's a good kid. He loves being at school. The teachers say he's a really good kid. He does have his flaws, just like we all do. Like I'm full of them, believe me. And it's just trying to tackle that the right way. You know, it's just being really patient and constantly trying to think of new ways to help. Another great example of like me talking about like the family days. One of the reasons we do that is because sometimes we think maybe because we've got Lilia now, he doesn't get as much attention as he used to, and therefore he's acting out for that reason. So now we're trying to give him more attention. Lily's at the age where she just tags along to whatever we do anyway, so we can go to the park and spend more time with Benjamin doing Benjamin type things, and Lily's with us, and you know, we just have a big family day together. But yeah, slowly but surely, every day's a learning day, I should say, and we're still kind of figuring things out. I ask, trust me, when we have problems, I ask so many people, like, my kids are doing this, what do I do? Because you do start to get to a point where you're like, what do we do? Are we bad parents? Like, are we doing something wrong or something like that? But as I say, every child is different, just like every person is different, and it's about finding the right thing that works for them. So yeah, little update. Family is all good otherwise. Lily is starting to get some little teeth through at the top, and she's picking up words, and she is getting very, very good at like standing on her own and walking around. Like not walking, she glides. I call it gliding, where she holds on to something and walks around. Jess, on the other hand, is content. I think she's very good at like seeing the future, and she trusts me and believes in what I'm doing, and therefore can cope with living in a garage. So yeah, she's good. She's got her own hobbies and stuff, as I say. She does all of her craft stuff. I'll actually throw a link to her stuff here. If you are someone who lives in the local area, or you're someone with a local business and you want to reach out and help Jess grow hers, because I said to her it's probably easier to grow your business with a service, like by providing a service rather than just selling a product, which can sometimes be hit and miss. So she's giving that a go. So if you're someone who wants to support Jess and her businesses and stuff that she's got going on, then click the link in the description and/or scan the QR code that you can see on the screen. But right, on that note, guys, as this clip is 10 minutes long. Holy moly, I should probably stop it. Ooh, fancy vlogging segue clip where I look at the tree line and talk about how pretty the birds are. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up today's vlog. I'm sorry that it's not like jam-packed full of progress in the house, but this is life, and that's just how it is. Things happen that are unavoidable, and it just becomes one of these days where I don't get to do a lot. To be honest, there might be some more vlogs like this. If you like vlogs where it's just me just chatting to you guys, I hear the comments about yapping, and it's very easy to focus on negativity, but I do also see the comments of people who like me and my channel for that exact reason. They like that it's kind of like a conversation between me and you. Like, I'm obviously sharing my life, and I try my best to interact with the comments as best as I can. That's another part of juggling my day, is trying to find the right time of my day to sit down and reply to comments. And I've just about squeezed it in to the time that I arrive at school to the time that I drop him off, like at his classroom. I sit there in the car and I reply to comments then, and that's how I manage it at the moment. So if you're someone who's written a comment and I've not replied to you yet, I'm doing my best to get back to you. But I like the fact that it's like an ongoing conversation between us. If I could just live stream this, that'd be amazing. I love the live feedback. I do miss live streaming and just chatting with people like you guys. But for the time being, you're gonna have to put up with me yapping. Yeah, as I say, there might be a couple more vlogs like this because it'll allow me to get back ahead. As I said, I got ill and I fell behind, and it's very difficult. I'm struggling really badly to keep up with the videos because I got ill and I fell behind. So yeah, there might be some more videos like this where I can take an hour or 2 hours out of my day and just chat for a bit, and it makes an easy video for me to put together. Anyways, I really do appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, where I have picked up some stuff for the bathroom ready to fit the bath in form of bath traps and stuff. So hopefully in the next video we'll have the bath fully fitted in and the room will be ready to tile. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace, much love, bye-bye. Now, obviously, there's no bloopers from today's vlog because all I did was talk for, I don't know, was it 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes? So all the people that keep talking about how I need to stop yapping at the end of the vlogs,